I just got back from a long morning of teaching baby and me yoga, so that was really fun today. Anyway, I thought we'd delve into the gut microbiome today and just so you can find out a bit more information about what your gut microbiome actually is, what it does, and why people say it's really, really needed. So we have microbiomes everywhere in science, everywhere. And it's basically just bacteria. We've got it on our skin, we've got it in our mouth, we've got it lining our esophagus all the way down into our intestinal tracts and then to our gut. So what the gut microbiome does in a nutshell is it protects us via immunity. It helps our immune system. It also, by lining the gut, it helps with digestion, helps move things through. It can create energy via non-digestible compounds. And it does a lot. There's so much that the gut microbiome does. That's why we really need it to be really strong and healthy. Now, what's crazy is that serotonin, the happy hormone, most of it is actually made in our gut. That then travels up because our brain and our gut have a communication axes. So they speak to each other. So if your gut isn't happy, then it's going to be telling your brain that, and it's probably going to make you be feeling not happy either. It's going to be telling you something is wrong. It's going to be giving you signs, and it can make you feel really quite shit. And so things that affect the gut that are quite prevalent at the moment, sadly, is obesity. And obesity has a long string of things coming off of it that affects everything, really. It can lead us to getting type 2 diabetes. It's a big inflammatory disease, which is really bad for your organs, for our blood vessels, cardiovascular disease. All of these impact the gut, and the gut likewise can impact all of these. So you want everything to be working together in harmony. And it's hard to do when you don't have the tools, and we've never really taught the tools at school, which is so bizarre, but I would imagine soon things like this are going to be taught. And really it's just how to fuel your gut. Now, with our gut, we have lots of different things that we can do to make it just survive and be the best it can be. And some of those are pre and postnatal, I was going to say, pre and probiotics. So prebiotic, and I remember I always used to think, what on earth is the difference between them? So I'm going to tell you. Prebiotics are the food and the things that you eat to help them grow. So that's that's before they're the bacteria, if you think of it that way. And then the pro is when it already is the bacteria. So the pro would be things such as your kefir that you drink, that yogurt drink, your kimchi I think that has both because it's fermented. I think it's got both in. And yeah, so it's the bacteria. So that's already made, and for you, your Yakults that you ingest, and because you're putting bacteria into your tummies, they're going to grow. And that brings me on to the next thing. These bacteria, bacteria are often opportunistic, so they will wait for the space in the gut and then do anything to survive. So they'll take that and run with it. So everything you're eating, they're going to take, digest, and then grow, multiply, They try everything is really quick, and it does happen fast. I remember I used to think that when I would be eating food. Oh, well, you know, a lot of the time, because we used to be told things would go straight through you. Well, they don't. Transit time is another thing, but we'll get to that. And so your gut microbiome and everything in there is working together, churning the food, and then bits are being taken out, digested, some bits are then going through. Well, your gut bacteria is going to take the fuel it needs to survive. So if you've got loads of gut bacteria that survives off sugar, saturated fats, you know, your chocolatey, your McDonald's, they are what is then going to multiply every single time you eat that. The other ones aren't, because that isn't the fuel source that they have. So if you think like that, every time you're eating this food, that's what's happening. Your gut microbiome is choosing to go one way or the other. And you could even look at that in simple terms as maybe unhealthy and healthy. You know, which one do you want your gut microbiome to be? Well, we want it to be healthy. So in that case, we need to up all the things that the healthy gut microbiome is going to like. So your fruits, your fiber. Now, an indication of how your body is digesting everything and how it's feeling, and although I know this is a really yucky subject, but it's your transit time, how long it takes from plate to back into the toilet. And if you can do a test, I think it's Zoe, it is Zoe. If you Google the Zoe blue poo test, you can do it, and it's really, really good. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to. You put blue dye in these muffins that you make. You eat it and you see what the transit time is until you see it in the toilet again. So it's teaching you to first look at your stools, but secondly, it's going to show you your transit time. And so if it's above 72 hours, then there's something going on that you're going to want to sort out in your gut. And if it's below 15, I believe, you have to double check it. Then also that's something you're going to want to look at. So that shows you that actually you don't want things to be going straight through you. You want that time for your gut bacteria to be able to take the nutrients and use as energy, protecting then your whole gut, making it stronger. Then serotonin making you feel better. You know, everything is connected and will help. So maybe look into that and maybe do that and just see where you are, and then you can start to then look at how we can change things. So your diet. Let's talk about fiber now. Your fiber content for British people should be 30 grams. I'm not sure what it is in other countries, but here in England, it's 30 grams a day the average adult should be eating. Now that's really hard. It is actually really, really hard to do. I'm going to challenge you to try and note down, look at the back of the things, weigh out what you're eating just for one day and see how much you're getting, because it is one day, 30 grams, that's what we should all be getting. And I bet you we're probably not near that, because even I sometimes struggle with fiber and I'm really on it with fiber. But there's things you can do to change it. And so just quickly before I go on to that, but why it's really vital to look at your fiber content and why fiber is huge. It's because 1, it feeds the gut microbiome. 2, it helps with your stools. So everything we just spoke about. 3, it can help with so many of the diseases I spoke about. Cardiovascular disease, it can lower it. Obesity, it can lower it. It can help with metabolic functions. You know, it really is good. And so you find fiber in your whole wheats, your brown breads, skin on the potatoes, vegetables, grains, pulses, everything that is spoken about, but sometimes you just probably blow out your head. You're going to want to start to try and implement them into your diet. And you can find recipes online now. It's never been so easy to do so. You just type in, if you buy a tin of beans, type in delicious recipe with beans, and they're all there. It's so simple and easy. And so really, really try and up your fiber, because it's, you know, that's huge. And then I suppose that brings me on to 5 a day. So the gut microbiome loves diversity, and that's what we're after in the gut microbiome. So when I was saying when we eat all the saturated foods, it's going to be more saturated food bacteria that like it. If we're going to be eating all the different fruits and vegetables, aim to go for 5 a day and try and make those 5 maybe different weekly. I'm not going to say every day because it is again really hard, but just try and change things up and out. Like for us, we'll go for a food shop and I will try and remember what I've had the previous week, and I'll try and get either 5 different things, or if I'm struggling, I'll just get 1 different thing. And I know my gut's gonna like that, and I know it's gonna feel good. It's gonna make me feel really good. For instance, when we try and get 5 different fruits and 5 different vegetables, but often we'll always get bananas, apples and oranges, okay? So they're a staple. So then I'll always try and change 2 a week. Watermelon, mango, dried mango, figs, dates, apricots, a coconut, even though that's a nut, I would still, have that. Change everything out. If I'm having carrots one week, try and change it out for broccoli the next, vice versa. So your gut is getting a completely, almost like a revamp every week. And that's going to really, really, really help you, because there's that saying that it got debunked, but when you think about it, I suppose it is probably matter of fact. You are what you eat. And I know that was deemed in, if you eat fat food, you're going to be fat. Well, that's not necessarily true, is it? But if you are consuming all these different types of vegetables and fruit, your gut microbiome is going to be healthier. So in turn, you're going to see more of the health effects than if you're going to be eating all these fast processed foods. Another big thing that in England is huge, well, Britain, is white bread. So white bread is a big staple in the English diet, in the Western diet. Processed foods, your white carbohydrates. So your pastas, your white rices, your white bread, your cereal. And cereal's just another one which, for me, just take out the diet. We don't need packets of cereals sat wherever they're sat in our households. It's just a snacking thing. You would never really have it as a sustainable dinner. You would never have it as a sustainable lunch, breakfast. And I know people do have them as those, but you're hungry again soon. And a lot of the time they're laden with sugar. Even if you get the bran flakes, you're probably somewhere in your day going to think, oh, I only had bran flakes, or I'll have something else. See what I mean? Knock-on effect these types of things have. And cereal bars as well, I would just steer clear of them. For your breakfast, you can have things as porridge. Porridge will already up your fibre content. But back to the bread. Bread is a big thing. I'm obsessed with bread. I love it. But I used to be obsessed with white bread too, until I really found out that it's doing absolutely nothing for me whatsoever. In fact, it makes me hungrier, I found, when I eat white bread at the start of the day or as a snack. A whole meal, you can get half and half, Hover's half and half, start there and then work your way up to the seeded, the multigrains. And I know there's a price bracket, but just look at what you can afford. There will always be an option for you. But you just have to go out there and avidly look for it. Now, the reason why for me, changing this one thing can completely change a big thing about your life is that the fibre content in these whole grain breads and also the protein are so much more than the white bread. The white bread has nothing in there for you. At least with your half and half or your wholemeal breads, you're getting that fibre. So it's working towards your 30 grams a day, which is going to make everything feel a bit better. It's also going to help with that transit time. If you're passing your food too quickly or too slowly, fibre helps. So try and just implement different things into your life that are going to be sustainable for you to begin with. try the half and half bread first if you're still having white bread. If you're not, then start doing the 5 a day, but start mixing them up. And it's 5 fruit or vegetables, but in this household we do 5 fruit and vegetables, for instance. But think of things that are really simply easy to do with your vegetables. Tonight, because today all I've had is a bowl of oats because I've been so busy, I'm just making a vegetable lasagna. That's got onions, garlic, celery, butternut squash, aubergine, and I swear there was one more thing in it. And it's gonna have tomatoes in it as well. So that's 6 vegetables in there. And then it's got herbs and spices in there as well. So they're right there and then we've already upped it. You know, I'm at my daily thing, but I suppose one portion, you need to remember that the one portion won't have all of those in, but it's definitely a foot in the door, and I'm pleased with that because I know I'm going to struggle to get anything else in today because it's about 3:30. So by doing things like that, like with, for instance, your chicken pies, you can add peas, carrots in there. With your homemade, I always forget the name of these, cottage pies, hide a load of vegetables in there. You won't even know they're there, but it's going to really help. Oh, spinach is going in there as well. Oh, and I got mushrooms. Wow, that is a lot. But just really try and implement these tiny little things and it will change a lot, and it's going to help your gut microbiome massively. Because at the end of the day, you've only got one body. Why not look after it the best you can until we die? And that way you can just feel good while doing it. Because as I said, that's so crazy about the gut and brain axes. It's mental. But anyway, that's it. I'm going to go carry on cooking, and then I've got to go pick up my daughter in half an hour. So my next video will probably be, if I remember, because I keep forgetting, but if I remember, it's going to be the food shop of a nutritionist. So I'm going to show you the things that I get, and I'm going to do this frequently, these types of videos, so you can see when I swap and change things. But also you can see the snacks I get as well, because come on, we're not all perfect. But yeah, I hope this has been helpful. Let me know how you get on with the fibre and how much you've actually been getting in your day. And yeah, take care. See you soon.